the Jaguars do have a visit to Denver where they can actually put on the line here what I think fans are saying, which is they're being overlooked.
Ryan, what was my note for this game?
Lawrence balled the F out.
That was it.
When you have a team that feeds on disrespect, how does that continue to go when maybe the respect starts to come, which might be where you are right now?
I don't know if we'll ever really get it. So that's the beauty of it. It ain't coming, you know that.
The Jacksonville Jaguars are here. Liam Cohen has already got his boys cooking in year one, showing off a head coach quarterback combination that is going to be causing problems in the AFC South for years to come. And sure, Daniel Jones might have left in their Week 14 game with an injury, but make no mistake, the Jacksonville Jaguars were always going to win that game. They were gonna leave Week 14 on top of the division, and with Trevor Lawrence now playing the best football of his career, it's safe to say that this experiment is finally paying off. All right, KRICH crew, we're back with another banger, and look, this one gotta be a classic. I mean, the colors of the Jags uniforms when they wear those throwback ones too with the old logo of the jumping Jaguar, gotta be top 5 uniform combination, just uniform in general in the NFL that's a throwback. Just takes me back to the early 2000s. But of course, before we jump into today's video, make sure that as always, you guys like, comment, and subscribe. We're pushing for that 100K. Hopefully we'll get it by the end of next year. 75K is the goal for the end of this year, even though we got like 20 days left. But hey, as always, happy holidays to whatever you celebrate. But of course, we're here to talk about Trevor Lawrence and when the Jacksonville Jaguars honestly paid bro a lot of money. They paid him a hefty amount for playing pretty mid, if I say so myself. There was a fair bit of criticism, and like I said, myself included. As we all know, inconsistencies have really just been the story of his career so far, and to many, he had nowhere near enough to warrant such a big payday. But that's the thing, everybody, including the Jaguars organization, knew what Trevor Lawrence was capable of. Like, they knew why he was the first overall pick, and more importantly, that really if he got the right pieces around him and the right receivers, the right running back, and more importantly, the right coach, he was going to be able to reach that potential of why he went first overall. So as we all know, Liam Cohen was the hotshot head coach brought in to help him, and in just his first year with the team, we're already seeing a version of the Jaguars that even the most optimistic fan probably didn't think was possible. And now look, I thought this was going to be the Texans division easy this year. I didn't think the Colts were going to be that good. Hell, I didn't even think the Jags were going to be that good. I thought they were still going to have some bumps in the road with Liam Cohen and Trevor Lawrence trying to figure it out. But here we are after Week 14, and now they sit atop the AFC South with a 9-4 record. But more importantly, I just can't get over the fact that Trevor Lawrence has finally somewhat found his groove and is playing pretty damn well right now. Like, with that big Week 14 victory over the Colts, Lawrence has had his boys on a 4-game win streak, and he's done it so by delivering some top quality play. Over those last 4 games too, he's racked up 885 yards and 9 total touchdowns, capping it off with his first 2 games of the season with passer ratings over 100. It's really easy to see too, he's improving at a rapid rate under Cohen, and the Week 14 clash against Indianapolis proved this. Even with the miserable rainy conditions that make things so much harder for quarterbacks, they still provided him with an opportunity to show just how special he can be, and Lawrence did just that. Like this pass right here, he couldn't have placed the ball any better on the sideline bomb to Brian Thomas Jr., which was on 3rd down. Then later in the game on another 3rd down, he served up one of the best passes of the season for him, rolling to his left and having to throw across his body, but still delivering the ball with perfect accuracy and impressive power. Like, considering the bad weather that he was playing in too, throws like this explain why he was the first overall pick. Lawrence really was fantastic in his game too. His touchdown passes were also great plays, floating one of the perfect touch passes to Jakobi Meyers in the first quarter before buying time and delivering a killer blow in the dying moments of the second half. Like, that's the thing I think we all learned from this game too, is that really Trevor Lawrence, if he plays this well and just the Jaguars offense as a whole plays this well, they can make a little bit of a deep playoff run. I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl by any means, but they can cause some problems for some teams that come up against them in the playoffs. As it stands right now too, the Jaguars currently hold the 3 seed in the AFC with a 98% chance of going to the playoffs. Beating Indianapolis massively bolstered their chances of winning the AFC South title, and those chances look even stronger now too when you consider that Daniel Jones is now out of the season with a torn Achilles. And look, I know we still can't count out the Texans. I mean, they're still in the hunt, or actually they're in the playoffs. I think they're the 6th seed right now. So we would have it would be like a 2nd round matchup probably that they would play if both of the teams won. But still, it's something that we didn't think was going to happen with the Jags overtaking this division. It really was going to be much more competitive than we all kind of thought headed into the season. And again, I thought it was going to be the Texans that came out of this division, but now it looks like it's going to be the Jags or the Texans, or somehow if the Colts can keep it going, Jonathan Taylor somehow plays quarterback and running back and can throw the ball and everything. Maybe the Colts will figure it out too. But more importantly for Trevor Lawrence, these last few weeks of just what we've seen him be able to do is just a great relief for Jags fans and for really himself, because now we all can see what makes him so talented. Because look, we can't really forget the middle part of the season this year where there were some lofty expectations because of his contract, but more so, really he just did not look like he was worth that big contract and was kind of playing very poorly. Don't get me wrong too, the high-end flashes were still there for Trevor at times, as they always have been, but so were the inconsistencies that made him such a frustrating quarterback for so many fans and analysts. He definitely wasn't entirely to blame though, because his wide receivers were not helping him out at all. They were dropping passes left and right, and Brian Thomas Jr.'s well-documented struggles with in-breaking routes handicapped the offense much more than expected. And that's the thing too, with Brian Thomas Jr., he was a legitimate threat on just kind of vertical passes up the seam and kind of not up the seam, sorry, on the sideline is what I meant to say, because the seam is still in the middle. But he was more so becoming a major liability over the middle with those inside seams and just in breaking routes. As a result, too, tight end Brenton Strange ended up becoming one of Lawrence's most reliable targets over the strong start to the season, but he went down with injury in week 5 and this offense began to struggle. Strange is a very promising up-and-coming tight end who can impact the game as both a receiver and a blocker, and without his presence as a safety valve for Lawrence, Jacksonville lost 3 of their next 4 games to slip to 5-4. It was a notable step down from where this team had been at the start of the season, and it was now crystal clear what they needed to add to the offense to help get this team back on track and give them a true chance to fight for the division. I mean, add in the fact too, when Brian Thomas went down temporarily with injury, and even worse, Travis Hunter was lost for the season, so general manager James Gladstone made a move at the trade deadline that at the time really didn't look particularly eye-catching. But now, just over a month later, it's safe to say that this might have been one of the most impactful trades of this season. Jakobi Meyers has completely transformed this Jaguars offense and helped Trevor Lawrence take the step forward that he needed. He's not as flashy as many number 1 option receivers around the NFL, but he perfectly slots in as the final missing piece of the Jacksonville Jaguars puzzle. He's a talented all-around wide receiver who can win on the perimeter and from the slot, and he's always been a solid contributor, topping 1,000 yards for the first time last year on a very bad Las Vegas Raiders team. But that's the thing too, on top of just being a really good all-around wide receiver, he has 2 very important traits that help unlock this Jaguars offense. First and foremost, he has fantastic hands, catching almost everything that comes his way. And for the Jaguars, who comfortably led the NFL in drops, this reliability was incredibly important. Not only that too, but he's amazing at running routes over the middle of the field. And now look, I know that's probably not going to mean a lot to, pretty solid offenses around the league, but to the Jaguars, it's something that they were in desperate need of. Nobody was really doing it consistently enough for Trevor Lawrence or Liam Cohen, so really it was just very limiting and kind of handcuffing this offense since they didn't have that reliable guy over the middle. But Meyers arrived in week 10 via the trade, and it was no coincidence that this team has gotten back to its winning ways, posting a 4-1 record since his arrival. With him providing a reliable set of hands and a whole new area of the field to target, Cohen's playbook is now wide open again, and Lawrence is playing some of the best football of his career. And really, it makes complete sense why. Lawrence is now operating in a complete offense with playmakers who can actually deliver on what the head coach wants to call on every single play. Brian Thomas Jr.'s struggles on in-breaking routes might mean that he isn't going to evolve into superstar status as quickly as his rookie season may have suggested, but he can absolutely still deliver as a nightmare on the perimeter. Like, you just don't get many guys who can run that fast at his size, and the last few weeks have shown that Trevor Lawrence is only going to get better at hitting him on those deep passes. With Brenton Strange now back as a reliable target on short passes and over the middle of the field, and Jakobi Meyers coming in as another reliable option who can do a little bit of everything, Liam Cohen can simply ask Brian Thomas Jr. to stick at what he does best. And that's really why the addition of Meyers is so important for this team. It's allowing everybody on this offense to be in positions that they all succeed in, whether it's Brian Thomas Jr. running more vertical routes on the perimeter or Brenton Strange kind of being the safety valve for Trevor Lawrence, or really just kind of allowing them to impact the game where they succeed most. And as a result of all of that, Trevor Lawrence is benefiting from it. Like, he's played his 2 best games of the season so far, totaling 473 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions over weeks 13 and 14, while outscoring both opponents by a combined 61 points to 22. Oh, and of course, don't forget about the 41 yards rushing over those 2 games. I know Lawrence isn't really renowned for his rushing ability, but he does have more than enough elusiveness and speed to cause a defense trouble. He's added 20 more rushing yards in 4 of his last 6 games and has 2 games on the year with 2 rushing touchdowns, and both of those games happen to be close wins over the Kansas City Chiefs and Las Vegas Raiders, meaning Lawrence's legs were the difference. And yes, of course, as I've mentioned before, the offensive success isn't solely coming from Trevor Lawrence. He also has a ton of help from his dynamic backfield duo of Travis Etienne and rookie Bashal Tutton, or Tootin, remind me in the comments. I know I probably messed it up, but they're both running the ball as well this year as they have in the past. Jacksonville right now ranks inside the top 5 for rushing attempts per game, and even though they're in the middle of the pack in terms of yardage, this approach seems to give the team an identity to build around and creates opportunities in the passing game. And really, on top of all of that too, that's what's allowing Liam Cohen to really make his mark on this offense and allow them to become a top 10 scoring offense in his first year as the coach. But that's the thing too, his offensive scheme isn't the only way that he's impacted this Jaguars team. He's made this team believe that they can win. His predecessor, Doug Peterson, certainly had success at times, but collapses were an all too common occurrence. When they were hoping to capitalize on a playoff berth in 2022, an 8-3 start in the 2023 season made fans believe that their franchise truly had turned the corner. But all of that positive momentum was ruined by a 1-5 finish to the season, which put them at a 9-8 record for the 2nd consecutive year. They had bottled up what should have been an easy division win, and then they followed it up with a dismal 4-13 record in 2024, which was enough to lose Peterson his job. This locker room was used to losing and used to be criticized and counted out. But then Cohen arrived and changed everything. They've been finding ways to win all season long, and in the biggest game of the season in week 14 against the Colts, Cohen had his boys primed and ready to dominate in all 3 phases of the game. I mean, you only have to look at his locker room speech to understand just how much he has this team on his side.
That's how y'all set that. Oh. Set that. Oh. Guys, so proud of you, man. So proud of you. Talk about complimentary football at its finest. Complimentary football. All 3 phases, dominate. All 3 phases, straight dominate. Guys, I'm so proud of you. Man, that's a big win, baby. That's a big win. Guys, man, you talk about being at your best when your best is required. These are the type of games. These are the moments. These are the moments. And we rose to the occasion. Every single one of you guys should be so freaking proud to go look yourself in the mirror tonight. Love you guys. How about our freaking quarterback?
Then when you factor in how disruptive this defense has been, Jags fans are really looking at a team that can go deep in the playoffs. They're conceding 20.9 points per game, which is enough to put them inside the top 10. On top of that too, they're particularly dominant against the run, giving up just 82.9 rushing yards per game, which is the very best in the NFL. And on top of all of that, their 1.8 takeaways per game is the 2nd most in the NFL. That is undoubtedly a fantastic recipe for success and the kind of blueprint that will track very well in the playoffs. Josh Hines-Allen and Devin Lloyd are operating at an extremely high level this year, and with Trevor Lawrence now doing the same on the other side of the ball, we are clearly looking at one of the best teams in the AFC. While fans will no doubt be gearing up for an exciting playoff run, it's also worth remembering that this is just 1 year of the James Gladstone and Liam Cohen era, and that the first-round pick they traded up to select barely got going before getting injured. Once this team has another offseason to gel together and Travis Hunter is back healthy, this team may have an even higher ceiling to reach in 2026.